ठीक है, इंटरेस्टिंग है, 15 ही स्लाइड्स है, फटफट हो जाएगा, मज़ा आएगा. मिसिंग वैल्यू ट्रीटमेंट. Man, this is like the best PPT in this whole thing, okay, after support vector machines. बहुत सिंपल है, बहुत ईजी है. सो मिसिंग डेटा is defined as values or data that is not stored or not present for some variables in the given data set. Below is a sample. ठीक है, from Titanic dataset you can see columns age. Titanic dataset is the most um, famous dataset on Kaggle. Age, cabin have some missing values. तो एज है, मिसिंग है. कैबिन है, कैबिन के नंबर्स मिसिंग है. ठीक है, हाउ डू यू डील विथ मिसिंग डेटा? Because any missing data provided to a machine learning model, the model will just give an error. So you need to sort the missing data पहले. ठीक है, how do you do that? How is missing value represented in data set? In the data set, blank shows the missing values. In pandas, usually missing values are represented by nan. ठीक है, क्या चल रहा है? ब्लैंक शोज द मिसिंग वैल्यूज. पैंडाज में नैन होता है, उतना ही बोल रहे. एक्सेल में ब्लैंक होगा, पैंडाज में नैन होगा. पैंडाज इज अ पाइथन लाइब्रेरी दैट वी नो ऑफ. वाई इज डेटा मिसिंग फ्रॉम द डेटा सेट? पास डेटा माइट गेट करप्टेड. ठीक है, नाउ इधर दे आर गिविंग रीजंस वाई इज द डेटा मिसिंग. पास डेटा माइट गेट करप्टेड ड्यू टू इम्प्रॉपर मेंटेनेंस. ठीक है, observations are not recorded for certain fields due to some reasons. There might be failure in recording the values due to human error. Now we'll just bold कर देते हैं इन सबको, because this is what are the key points. The user has potentially provided in the user has provided the values not provided intentionally. ठीक है. Types of missing values: MCAR, MNAR, MAR. Missing values. Now this is gonna be fun. Types of missing values: missing completely at random. What does this mean? In missing completely at random, the probability of data being missing is same for all observation. Because it is missing completely at random, there is no such logic कि ये data missing है, वो data. So the probability of data being missing is the same for all the observations. In this case, there is no relationship between the missing data and any other values or observed. Any other values observed or unobserved. The data which is not recorded within the given. So क्या बोल रहा है? In this case, there is no relationship between the missing data and any other values. कि अगर एज है, जेंडर है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर जेंडर और एज में एज मिसिंग है तो ऐसा there is a correlation. It is at random that it is being happening. That is, missing values are completely independent and there is no pattern that can be established. In the case of MCAR, the data could be missing due to human error, some system equipment failure, loss of sample, or some unsatisfactory technicalities while recording the values. In the case of MCAR, the data could be missing due to human error, some system equipment failure, loss of sample, or some unsatisfactory technicalities while recording the values. For example, suppose in a library there are some overdue books. Some values of overdue books in the computer system are missing. The reason might be a human error, like the librarian forgot to type in the values. So the missing values are overdue books. So the missing values of overdue books are not related to any other variable data in the system. It should not be assumed as it's a rare case. The advantage of such data is that the statistical analysis remains unbiased. So the advantage is that because there is no pattern on anything, the statistical bias remains, the statistical analysis remains unbiased. Now coming to MAR, missing at random. We missing completely at random, missing at random means that reason for missing values can be explained by variables on which you have complete information, as there is some relationship between the missing data and other values. Though the data is missing at random, there is some relation that can be assumed और अंडरस्टूड बाय द डेटा दैट इज़ कंप्लीट. ठीक है, सपोज एक फीचर या कॉलम या हाँ, एक फीचर या कॉलम इज़ कंप्लीट and there is another column that has values missing at random, there can be a pattern or logic that can be observed. In this case, the data is not missing for all the observations. It is missing only with subsamples of data, and there is some pattern in the missing values. Okay, for example, if you check survey data, you may find that all the people have answered the gender, but age values are mostly missing for people who have answered the gender as female. Okay, so female is a subset of age gender for which values are missing of age. So that there is a logic that can be established. The reason being most of females don't want to reveal their age. So the probability of data being missing depends only on the observed data. So the probability of data being missing only depends only on the observed data. Types of missing values का third type, missing not at random. This is pretty ऐसे देख बोल दाम से समझ आते. It is missing but it is not randomly missing. So there is obviously some pattern that is there to that. Missing values depend on unobserved data. Missing values depend on the unobserved data. If there is some structure pattern in missing data and other observed data cannot explain it. If there is some structure pattern in missing data and other observed data cannot explain it, then it is missing not at random. If the missing data does not fall under MCAR or MAR, then it is categorized as missing not at random. It can happen due to reluctance of people in providing the required information. I'm sorry, did I say that there is a pattern? There is no pattern. Missing not at random has no pattern to it. There is a pattern to it. Why am I confusing myself so late in night? Let's start again. Missing not at random. Missing values depend on the unobserved data. If there is some structure pattern in missing data and other observed data cannot explain it, then it is missing not at random. ठीक है क्या like previous one, other column could explain कि इसमें क्या missing है, but either no other data column can explain it. If missing data does not fall under the MCA or MAR, then it is categorized as MNAR. It can happen due to the reluctance of people in providing the required information. A specific group of people may not answer some questions in a survey. For example, people having less income may refuse to share the information in survey. In the case of MNAR, as well as statistical analysis might result in a bias. Why do we need to care about handling missing values? It is important to handle the missing values appropriately. Many machine learning algorithms fail if the dataset contains missing values. However, algorithms like k-nearest and naive Bayes support data with missing values. You may end up building a biased machine learning model which will lead to incorrect results if the missing values are not handled properly. Missing data can lead to a lack of precision in the statistical analysis. क्या बोल रहा है? It is important to handle missing values appropriately. Many machine learning algorithms fail if the dataset contains missing values. However, like k-nearest and naive Bayes are two machine learning models which can support missing values. You may end up building a biased machine model which will lead to incorrect results if the missing values are not handled properly. Missing data can lead to lack of precision in statistical analysis. How to handle missing values? Check for missing values. The first step in handling missing values is to look at the data carefully and find out all the missing values. The first step in handling missing values is to look at the data carefully and find out all the missing values. The following code shows the total number of missing values in each column. It also shows the total code to diya nahi. Following code. Figure out how to handle the missing data. There are two primary ways to handling missing data: deleting the missing values and imputing the missing values. Okay, let's have a quick look of what each can do. Deleting the missing values. Generally, this approach is not recommended. It is one of the quickest and the most dirty techniques one can use to deal with missing data. If the missing value is not is type if the missing value is of data type missing not at random, then it should not be deleted because there is some logic behind it. If the missing value is of type missing at random or missing completely at random, then it can be deleted because there is no pattern behind it. Even if there is a pattern behind it, it makes sense to delete it because like females का ही delete हो रहा है तो if the missing value of type missing at random completely, I do not understand why missing completely at random should be deleted because there is a pattern to it. But anyways, deleting is generally not recommended. It is dirty technique, ठीक है? there is gonna be some data loss. Female का age नहीं दिया, that is a pattern that could be understood from the model, which now because of deleting would not be able to understand. But ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे females ने age नहीं डाला. There are females that have put in the age in the example. So you're not affecting the data set as a whole. You're just reducing the number of female count in the data set. The disadvantage of this method is one might end up deleting some useful data from the data set. Okay, that is an obvious disadvantage. Deleting the missing values. There are two ways one can delete the missing values. Deleting the entire row. If a row has missing values, then you can choose to drop the entire row. If every row has some missing values, then you might end up deleting the whole data set. That is so obvious. ठीक है, तो यू कांट जस्ट कीप अबाउट डिलीटिंग. ठीक है, समटाइम्स इट इज़ फाइन कि एक इंस्टेंस पूरा डिलीट कर दिया, बट हर इंस्टेंस में कुछ ना कुछ मिसिंग है, तो यू माइट एंड अप डिलीटिंग द होल डेटा सेट, डिलीटिंग द एंटायर कॉलम. नाउ इफ़ यू ऑब्जर्व अ कंटिन्यूटी कि एक इंस्टेंस या एक फीचर या कॉलम की वैल्यूज़ बहुत मिसिंग है, and that is not important for you to train the model, then you may choose to delete the entire column itself. If a certain column has many missing values, then you can choose to drop the entire column only. ठीक है, imputing the missing values, replace with arbitrary values. If you can make an educated guess about the missing values, then you can replace it with some arbitrary values. ये क्या बोल रहा है, replacing with arbitrary values. You can make an educated guess about the missing value and you can replace it with some arbitrary value. Replacing with mean. Replacing with mean is क्या, जो भी पूरे डेटा सेट का मीन होगा फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर फीचर और कॉलम, you can replace it with that. If there are outliers, then the mean will not be appropriate. In such case, पहले outliers को fix करो या treat करो and then apply the mean. Replacing with mode. Mode is the most frequent occurring value. Mode is the most frequent occurring value, so it is used in case of categorical features. So you can easily replace with mode because it has anyways occurring so many times in the dataset that you can feel safe to replace the missing value with mode. Imputing the missing values. Again, there are more methods. Median है, तो arbitrary value educated guess हो गया, mean median mode हो गया. Median क्या है? Median is the middle most value. It is better to use the middle value for imputing in the case of outliers, so you are not affecting the data as such because median ही है. Replacing with the previous value, forward fill. In some cases, imputing values with previous values instead of mean, median or mode is more appropriate. This is called forward fill. Forward fill, it is mostly used in time series data. Time series में तो mean median mode डाल के क्या करेगा भाई? You could instead put the previous date का value. That previous date is what the new value of the missing data would be. ठीक है? And then is replacing with next value, that is backward fill. Missing values of the next value can be put in the values that are missing at the previous, that is backward fill. Backward fill भी हो गया. Interpolation. Missing values can be imputed using interpolation. That is all that is given. Now the PPT is done, so we'll just go about like as an overview कर लेते हैं PPT का फटफट. ठीक है, overview में what all do we have and what all do we need to understand. Missing value treatment. What are missing values do we know? If there's something missing, data set में blank होता है, pandas में nan होता है. Why is data missing from data set? Corrupt हो गया, human error, not provided. We highlighted this, corrupted, human error, not provided intentionally. Types होता है, missing completely at random, मतलब there is no pattern that can be established. Example, librarian forgot to enter the missing values for some data set. Missing at random, that is females का age नहीं दिया हुआ है because females hesitate to write their age. If you were to do librarian का example, if only one particular borrower, let's say Hirak का ही librarian forgot to enter values for Hirak only, then this is missing at random because though मेरा library का missing है the values for the late submission, but it is only for me, so there is some correlation that is happening. Missing not at random. Missing not at random is that the data cannot be explained and pattern नहीं है, but you can see that I still have not at random, not explained क्यों लिखा है. A specific group of people may not answer certain questions. For example, people with less income may not give the salary. In the case of MNAR, a well statistical analysis might result in a bias. In the case of MNAR, as well as statistical analysis might result in bias. फिर क्या है? Why do we bother caring about this? Machine learning algorithms fail to work on data set with missing values. However, k-nearest and naive bias support data with missing values. You may end up building a biased machine, which will lead to incorrect results, which the missing values are not handled properly. Missing data can lead to lack of precision in statistical analysis. How to handle? Check for missing values. The following code तो दिया नहीं है. Deleting the missing values and imputing the missing. Deleting मतलब निकाल देना. Generally, deleting में only सिर्फ एक ही है. Deleting of values. Do not delete values for missing not at random, but you are safe to delete values of missing at random and missing completely at random. Impute कैसे करते हैं? Deleting the entire row and deleting the column are the two ways you can delete. Entire row delete करोगे अगर हर row में तुम्हारे डेटा सेट की हर row में कुछ ना कुछ मिसिंग है तो you might end up deleting the whole data set whereas missing एंटायर कॉलम में एक कॉलम है एक फीचर है जिसमें बहुत सारे वैल्यूज मतलब बहुत सारे इंस्टेंसेस के एंट्रीज मिसिंग है. यू कैन choose to delete the entire column if it's not really important for training your model. Imputing the missing values. Arbitrary, take an educated guess. Mean, median, mode तो हो गया. Backward fit, forward fit भी हो गया और interpolation. That is done. We are done with the PPT of missing value treatment.